So after editing this video, I realized that most of the actual building tips are at the end of the video instead of at the beginning where people would want them to be. So if you're just here for the editing tips, then just skip to this timestamp. Hello everybody, Leontine here, and I have a small problem. You see, I can build a little bit, but I'm not the best at it either. So I want to improve. And the best way to improve is to just try it out. So, in this series, we are going to build something. Now, for how many episodes we're going to do this, I don't really know yet. But what I do know is that we've got a lovely terrain over here. As you can see, we've got a lovely mountain over here. We've got a dark oak forest over there. You've got a regular forest somewhere over there. There you go. Well, it's a birch forest, actually. I think the regular forest is over here, actually. Ah, there it is. And there's also a desert somewhere in that direction, and a jungle as well, which is very cool. Hello everybody, welcome to the lovely time-lapse. As you can see over here, we're building a very lovely path. It started raining, which is slightly less lovely. Around the path I'm adding some leaves, some dark spruce, some spruce leaves, and some of the new leaves. I think they look very lovely, especially in this biome, where all the other leaves are a little bit bland, a little bit grayish. Just adding some rocks on the side of it, very lovely. I'm going to start building a shack. I think I'm building a shack after I add these decorations in the floor. Shack is gonna get built now. No? No. I think we're... Yeah, there we go, the shack. We go with dark oak and then we gradually go up in brightness to the spruce. And then we add a lovely roof, which isn't symmetrical on all sides. I think it's 3 white on one side and then 2 white on the other side, which is a little bit sad, but I think it looks fine. Haven't really designed this roof, I just kind of freestyled it. And we are adding some lovely decorations with lanterns and chains on there. I think that looks very cool. We're going to make a floor, which isn't going to be very straight, it's going to be very rough around the edges. Adding some different colors in there, some different types of spruce, adding some fences. And this is going to be a wood storage shack, so we're adding in the wood and the rails to hold the wood together. We're clearing out some trees to make some way for a lovely campfire, because we wouldn't want a campfire in the middle of a forest. It's very cozy and stuff. Reminds me of the days where I used to go camping and we had a campfire. Those good old times. Actually, I didn't quite like camping, but the campfire was cool. And here we're starting off with our bigger build. I didn't really have anything in mind for this as well. Had no reference or anything. So I just started with a staircase, and I decided, you know what we do from there, we clear out some trees. Very important to make some space for your builds. But we start off with some pillars, and behind those pillars we're gonna have some walls going up from spruce to jungle. And the pillars kind of create some depth to the build, if you know what I mean. I like having a lot of depth in my build. Very cool to have depth in your builds. And we mirrored the design on the other side. We'll make some floors. Very important to have floor in your build, otherwise you're gonna fall right through it, which is very lovely. Now this build is going to be a more religious kind of build, because it isn't really going to have walls. It's only going to have pillars and a roof. And also a sort of inner roof with arches. As you can see, I'm building the pillars here. It's going to be rather tall. And the roof is going to be rather large. Which is fine. The roof is just going to be a simple shape. It's not going to have any shapes inside of the roof. It's just going to be a simple arch. And there we go, we have building the arches inside of the roof. To give it some extra spice, I guess. We're adding some barrels to the bottom of the pillars. To give it some extra detail, we're adding some slabs. Not slabs, those are trapdoors. Silly goose. Yeah, we're adding some fences around the edges. Anytime now. There we go, some fences around the edges. Very lovely. And there was a water and trader, which I didn't really notice. Well, that is most of it. Just adding some candles over here. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed the time lapse. Let's go back to Leontine. I'm actually already talking to Leontine, but let's go back to the other Leontine. Just kidding, you thought you were going back to the regular Leontine, but actually I had a second time lapse. Very cool, we're building a boat. So let's go to the boat building time lapse. Wow, boat building time lapse. That's very awesome. I have never seen anyone build a boat in Minecraft before. Absolutely insane. As you can see, we're building a rather slim boat. It's only going to be roughly 1 block wide. Actually a little bit wider than 1 block. Because we're adding some details on the side of it with some fences. Not fences. Signs and trapdoors. You can see we've got some trapdoors going on the side. Moving them around a little bit. It's not a very complicated design. I didn't plan this out either. It just kind of came up with it as I went. I think you can do it too. I decided to add a banner here as the sail. It didn't really work out because it was rather small for the size of the boat. So I decided that wasn't really going to work out. We're just going to have some wool as the sail. I think that's very complicated. As you can see, we are... I think I hang a banner in front of it. I don't know why. I thought it was cool. Waves a little bit in the wind. And then we are going to build something in the back of it to have like a support for the sail. Yeah. And then a lantern on top of it because other ships can see this ship at night. Which is very important. And then you add the lantern in the front of it so people can see in the dark. Very nice. There we go. That's the ship all built. I hope you'll like the ship. Let's go back to regular Leontine for real now. And this is the result of the time lapse that we just did. So as you can see over here I built a little boat. This is the design of it. I used some signs over here and some trapdoors and some fences. And some wool and some lanterns. That's basically the entire design. Oh, a staircase and slabs, of course. It's kind of a long boat. I think it fits really well with the area. Now this is just a simple lantern design. There isn't really that many special things about it. And over here we have this wood storage thing. As you can see, we are storing the wood over here with these rails on top of it. So all the wood stays nicely packed together. And we've got some lanterns on the inside to decorate a little bit. Got a little campsite over here. And some rocks with candles. And a nice little pond. And over here we've got this nice little, well, hedge, basically. And this is currently the biggest building of the town. It is what I would assume is a religious building. Where I add a little bit of water, which could be some magic water of some kind. Got some purple candles, which probably have some kind of purpose, I don't know. I have used a rather large amount of candles in this area. Got some other stones here as well. I've got some purple ones here. They're mainly black and purple. Well, they're all black and purple. We've got this internal structure, and then we've got the external structure kind of above it. Now I imagine all the people in the town would gather here to do some kind of ritual every now and then. And here's the overview of the entire place. Just take a look around. I think it turned out rather well. Alright, so the river kind of runs into a dead end somewhere over there. But if we go this direction, we run into a little swamp over there, which we could terraform. We can't really see right now. But more importantly, if you go this direction, you actually can see that we run into an ocean. Which would be really useful for having ships come in. Well, and there we go, guys. The building is now entirely complete. Now, a purpose for this building I haven't quite decided on. It might be some kind of magical building, considering this tower could be used for something. It has also a really nice view over the things we've built yet. Actually, it doesn't offer that many great views. You have to stand on this edge to actually see anything. But maybe if we build something on this mountain, that would be really great. Now over here, we've used a couple of blocks to build this bottom side. We've got granite, bricks, and over here, if we take a look around, oh, here it is. We've also got polished granite, and then we've mixed that in with strip spruce logs. As you can see, we've kind of built this outwards to give some more depth to it. And here we've made a combination of spruce trapdoors and spruce slabs in order to create this little extrusion out here. Now, a key point about building things in Minecraft is to make things as three-dimensional as possible. As you can see, these two walls are very flat, but if you were to add some extrusions over here with this wood over here, you can see that already looks way more interesting than this. Now, of course, this doesn't just go for flat walls, it also goes for boxes and every single three-dimensional thing that you build. If we were to add these pillars on the side, on every corner, you'll be able to see that things get much more interesting. Now, this isn't just limited to pillars on the side. For example, if we take these stairs and put them on the corner, just like this, we get a very interesting pillar. And then what I did with this building is to make a combination of slabs and trapdoors to make this little, well, overhang. And something I see very often in Minecraft builds is that people just place a door just like this, which is very uninteresting. What I like to do is to make the doors a little bit taller. I like to place some stairs, just like this, and then I place the doors offset a little bit backwards. Now we get a little gap in here, which you can easily fix by placing some trapdoors of the same color as the door. And there we go, we've got a little tall door. Now you can also decorate this a little bit by placing some trapdoors on the side, which looks very fancy. Now you can also do this with windows, as you can see. This wouldn't work with glass, but I've placed some trapdoors here, and some stairs here. We got a lovely tall window. Now, three-dimensionality is also very important with windows, for example. If you add lots of windows to your building, to a certain extent, it'll just look better. But of course, overdoing it is also not good. You don't want your building entirely consist out of windows. Now, I would suggest just trying to play around a little bit with these extrusions. As you can see over here, I've used these to make these windows a little bit more defined. Over here as well. And you can even kind of use it on your roofs to make them a little bit more interesting. Now I've also added lots of plants. As you can see, I've added some vines here, some leaves, and some glowberries over here. These just make the build look lots more finished, a little bit more polished on the build, as you can imagine. Also, something very important is that this build isn't entirely rectangular. Rectangular. Also, something important about this building is that it isn't entirely rectangular. As you can see, it's based out of two rectangles. One over here, and one over here. Now, making stuff more like an L-shaped or any kind of shape that isn't just one box makes things look very much more interesting. Also play around with height differences a little bit. As you can see, this tower pokes out of the middle of it, which makes it look much more interesting than it did before I added a tower. I also mainly added a tower because of this angle. It looked very uninteresting. The roof would just kind of end here, and there wasn't really much to look at. So I think this looks way better. Now this wall over here looks very uninteresting. It is very flat and very boring. But something we can do to fix this is to actually bring some variations into the materials that we use. For example, I'm going to make some holes in here. And I'm going to fill these holes up with bricks. And there you go. That already looks much more interesting. Now we can also use some similarly colored blocks, such as this smooth andesite. I mean, granite. And there you go. That looks so much more interesting. Now if we were to do that in this little shack that we built, you can see that things look a lot more interesting than it did before. I've also used these in these walls. As you can see, I've used some wool, some smooth diorite, and some calcite. Now, you might be wondering why I added these things on top of the roofs. As you can see, I added one here as well. Well, the reason for that is, look at this. This makes sort of an arch shape. And that is very important for sightlines. Well, take a look around. Where exactly is your eye drawn to from this perspective? For me, it isn't really this building, also not really this building, but it is right here. Now that's something I would like to call sightlines. Your eyes are naturally drawn towards here, which means that probably something should be built here in this area to accommodate for that. It might be good to keep sightlines in mind as you're planning out or building stuff. For example, if your eyes aren't really drawn towards anything in particular, it might feel very messy. But this right here is very cool and it would be perfect for something to go in this place, so I think we should be building that in the next episode. Don't you think? Also, when we get the time for it, we should be doing the interior for this. But I think we should make that a separate episode to talk about interiors only. I also forgot to mention over here we've got this lovely sewer, which isn't really finished at all. But this is something that we could build in the next episode as well. Well, anyway, there's lots of things to do in the next episode, so I think we should just call it off here. If you have any advice on how to build in Minecraft, make sure to leave it known in the comments or in my Discord server. If you've got any builds that you're really proud of, make sure to share them there as well. Any inspiration would be very lovely. Well, see you later. Bye bye.